Video games, an entertainment platform, a fun way to pass the time, or even a way to compete. Back then, however, it was just a novelty, or even a toy. I mean, heck, look at the NES when it came out. It had, like, Rob, that robot thing that's now in Smash Bros. Back then, video games were seen as a fad that would eventually just dust out of existence. But that didn't happen, and now we see why. Anyway, the thing that just irks me is that many people say that Nintendo's Shigeru Miyamoto was the creator of video games, and that Super Mario was the first video game created. No, that's not true. So how did video games become the platform that it is today? How did Nintendo's partnership with Sony eventually create one of the big players in gaming that we have today? How did Atari fall from grace? How did we get from this to this? Find out today in the inaugural episode of Hello everyone, this is Warwolf, a fellow member of FV and a huge gamer, as you could tell by a previous video I did.
Dude, like, come on! Give me a chance, man! Jesus!
Yeah, call it dudes. Welcome to the first episode of the history of video games. After doing a podcast about 3 weeks ago with Nova, a good and cute little skunko, and recently doing a double feature of both Tron and Tron Legacy, I decided to do a video on the history of video games. In today's episode, we're going to go back to where it all started. No, not Nintendo. No, not Atari. We're going to go way further back to 1967. Ralph Baer, creator of the Brown Box. Yes, this wooden box with dials and switches on it. The Brown Box was the first ever game console ever released. Well, okay, it wasn't released to the public. It was a prototype console that will eventually be adapted into the first true home video game system, the Magnavox Odyssey, in 1972. Ralph Baer was mostly known because of his creation, but he has a lot more history to himself. Ralph Baer was born in Roldeben, Germany, on March 8, 1922, to Lottie and Leo Baer. Due to what was going on in that time period, he was expelled from school and moved to an all-Jewish school. Before the German event of Kristallnacht in 1938, Baer and his family moved to New York City. Later on in his life, he went to work for L'Oreal Electronics in 1951. There he designed power line carrier signaling equipment. This equipment he was building was built for IBM. But, mind you, this was way before IBM was known for providing the computer equipment for the moon landing, and before they made the IBM PC in the 1980s, which I'll get to in another episode. After becoming vice president at Transitron Inc. from 1952 to 1956, he worked for Sanders Associates in Nashua, New Hampshire as a defense contractor. He would go on to live in New Hampshire all the way till his death in 2014. Now, where does the Brown Box play in all this? Well, the answer is very simple. While working at L'Oreal, Baer had an idea to explore the possibilities of playing games on a TV screen. After moving to Sanders Associates in 1952, he decided to go forward with that idea, and after years of hard work and testing, he created the Brown Box prototype console in 1967. It wasn't until April 17, 1973, that the Brown Box would be patented under U.S. patent number 3,728,480, which made me laugh a bit due to what they called it. They called it, and I quote, a television gaming and training apparatus. Like, wait, what? Anyway, moving on. Bayer called it the brown box due to the wood grain tape that he used on the system itself. This is an aesthetic that some people are not really fond of, but on the other hand, one person comes to mind.
And say hello to the official LGR wood grain socks.
Hey, Werewolf. You gonna finish that video?
Yeah, right. Anyway, you might be wondering, where does Atari come in? I'll get to that. Going back a bit, in 1971, Bayer licensed the unit to Magnavox, who named it the Magnavox Odyssey. Released in 1972, the Magnavox Odyssey sold around 1 million units, and is in fact still on the best-selling consoles list at number 36. Bayer was credited for making the first ever light gun game as well. In fact, the gun even looked more realistic than game companies today would even allow.
Let's see what the Odyssey gun looks like. Well, the Odyssey doesn't fuck around. I mean...
Now this is where we head in a different direction. After the success of the Magnavox Odyssey, things were looking great for Bayer. But there was a problem. Wherever there's success in an industry, there's competition. Entered Nolan Bushnell, a man who sought out the newly formed video game industry and wanted to get more out of it. In 1972, he founded Atari and wanted to popularize video games. In the same year he founded Atari, he created one of the most well-known video games of all time, and one of the most duplicated games of all time, Pong. Pong was so well known that it was duplicated by so many times by other companies, duplicated many, many times. This was listed as the one reason the industry crashed in '83, but we'll talk about that some other time. Due to Pong being based on one of Bayer's games in the Odyssey, Sanders and Magnavox sued Atari for patent infringement. But that didn't stop Bushnell. In the late 70s, Bayer and Magnavox worked together on the Odyssey 100 and Odyssey 2. While the Odyssey series, they will go up in the hundreds and the thousands, all those consoles were Pong consoles, which could only play Pong. The Odyssey 2 was cartridge-based, and was well known for creating a cartridge design that would inspire the design for the cartridges in the Atari 2600. Speaking of the 2600, it launched on September 11, 1977 for $199.99, equivalent to $855.25 in today's money. The 2600 was considered the first video game console, as this console is the one that drove the gaming industry to the mainstream and made it continue to thrive, possibly to this day. The Atari 2600 had joysticks for controllers, while the Odyssey had dials and a reset button. This is why the joystick is seen as a symbol of video games itself, because the Atari 2600 was what brought gaming to every home. Remember how Bill Gates said that Microsoft was going to bring computers into every home? Yeah, Nolan Bushnell is probably doing the same thing when it comes to video games. In 1982, video games were at their peak, with arcades being everywhere in the country. The most well-known arcade is Twin Galaxies, best known for their scandals with a player by the name of Billy Mitchell, but we'll talk about gaming scandals and cheating in video games some other time. Anyway, one of the best known video games at the time was not just Pong, but also this round yellow ball that avoids ghost city pellets. Yes, Pac-Man was one of the most well-known video game characters and is still around today, now owned by Bandai Namco. Gaming would also hit the movies in 1982. The story of a game programmer who was brought to the world from the computer itself. Tron. Tron released a huge success. It was mainly due to the video game boom and its awesome looking visuals at the time. The movie follows the story of Kevin Flynn as he's trying to gain access to his crew program, who would eventually come back to haunt him in Tron Legacy. When contacted by his friend and old co-worker Alan Bradley, played by Bruce Boxleitner, he gets told that Sector 7 has been wiped from the system by the FCP, the Master Control Program, due to suspicion. Flynn gets teleported to the world of Tron when he tries to get access on a terminal close to the beam. He runs in the world of Tron, he runs into two programs, RAM and of course Tron, who is also played by Bruce Boxleitner. After the movie's huge success at the box office, it would seem that the video game industry would continue to thrive. But then, in 1983, something was about to go down. something that would change the course of gaming history. Thanks for watching this episode of the History of Video Games. If you liked the video, give it a like. If you didn't like it, give it a dislike. Be sure to comment and subscribe as well. You can join us on our Discord, where we host many events, including podcasts, floof talks, and play mini games, including Minecraft, Overwatch, League of Legends, and now Call of Duty.
Why? Why though? Boy!
Yes, I know. I rage a lot of campers. What can I say? They suck. Anyway, see you guys next time. And hey, come to Furry Valley, the place that we go home. Bye.